So now that we've covered Lophotrochozoans, we're going to move on to Ecdysozoans, still in group Bilatera. But these guys are organisms that undergo ecdysis, or molting, which is the shedding of their outer skin. So here are some general tips for working with the narrative PowerPoints. If you need more specific help, please see the file and drop box called Help with Narrated PowerPoints. And if that still doesn't work, feel free to email Professor Dempsey or Professor Turley, and we will work with you to fix whatever issues you're experiencing. So these PowerPoints are a joint product that Professor Dempsey and myself, Professor Turley, have been putting together over the course of several years. We've worked together in an effort to bring you, the student, the best possible learning experience. We are both firm believers in the hypothesis that two heads are better than one, and that working together makes for a more well-rounded curriculum for you guys. So whether you have Professor Dempsey narrating a lecture or lab PowerPoint or myself narrating them, it really doesn't matter because we both stand behind this product. Just as a heads up, we both work at more than one campus, so on occasion you may hear references to other campuses that you are not located at. Not to worry. You may hear references to Northlake College or Collin College or even Grayson College because we pull resources from all of the campuses we work at in order to provide you guys with the best possible experience. So don't worry if you hear a reference to a campus that you're not located at. It's not a big deal. Another thing, textbooks updates will always trump the PowerPoints. So if you have the most current edition of the textbook and it disagrees with the PowerPoint, the textbook is what we will default to for lecture. If you come across anything like this, shoot Professor Dempsey or myself an email and we will look into it. Instructor announcements of any updates will also always trump the PowerPoints. So if you're in an in-person class, please attend class. It's very important so that you can get the announcements. If you are an online class, please pay attention to Blackboard announcements and to emails because we will contact you with any new information. If you spot an error in the material, feel free to shoot us an email and let us know. We are all about fixing mistakes. Now, granted, if there's a comma missing in this sentence, we probably aren't going to jump on that quite as fast as if it's a content error, but regardless, we do like to fix errors, so just let us know and we'll get to work on them. So here are the objectives for this presentation. Please read through them. At the end of the presentation, if you cannot complete these objectives, please go back through the presentation and re-watch the areas that you're struggling with. So you're a scuba diver. How would you tell the difference between Nematoda and Arthropoda, the two phylums in Ecdysozoa? And the answer is that nematodes, they tend to be very wormy in appearance. They look like worms. They're not actually true worms, but they do look like worms. And arthropods tend to have hard outer shells and joints. They are your joint-legged animals. So here's a look at ecdysis. In the process, you've got a crab molting out of its shell. The reason these guys molt is that their shells are hard and they don't grow with them. So in order to increase in size, they have to shed the old shell and then produce a new one. Initially, this new shell will be really soft, and over time, after an hour or a couple of hours, depending on the organism, they will start to secrete chitin that will harden the new shell. But before it hardens, they'll puff themselves up and make it get as large as possible so that it's larger than their old shell. There's a video you can watch of a cicada undergoing molting if you exit out of PowerPoint and go into the videos in Dropbox. So let's do a quick bilateral checkup. We have 3 groups. We've already looked at the Lophotrochozoans. So here's our clade bilatera. We have 3 groups. Deuterostomia, we'll cover them next. We covered the Lophotrochozoans. Remember, these guys, they are grouped by DNA evidence. They may have a lophophore or a trochophore larvae. They included your flatworms and your roundworms and your mollusk. And now we're in ecdysozoa over here, and these are your arthropods and your nematodes. So these guys all undergo ecdysis, or molting.